Hey there, and welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're taking a journey into the world of the tarot. But hold on. Before you think this is all about crystal balls and predicting the future, we're doing something different. We're going to explore the tarot through the lens of Paul Foster Case and his book, A Course on Tarot Divination. He had a really unique approach, seeing the tarot not as some mystical fortune-telling tool, but as a powerful system for self-discovery. Think of it like a psychological roadmap to your inner world.
Exactly. What's really fascinating about Case is that he believed the tarot was created by, get this, expert psychologists from way back when. They designed it as a way to tap into deeper knowledge and wisdom, not just to tell fortunes.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Case talks about accessing your true self with the tarot. What exactly did he mean by that?
He believed that beneath the everyday you know, the one running errands, making to-do lists, there's a deeper self, a part of you connected to a universal source of knowledge and intelligence. He called this the universal intelligent energy, and he saw the tarot as a key to unlocking this deeper self and the wisdom within that universal energy.
So it's like the tarot's a bridge between your conscious mind and this deeper, more intuitive part of yourself.
Precisely. And Case believed that the tarot speaks in a language that your subconscious mind understands. A language of symbols and imagery. Think about it. Dreams, intuition, those aha moments, they often come to us in images, not words.
That's so true. It's like the tarot is using the language of our inner world,
Yeah.
bypassing all the logical, analytical stuff and tapping directly into our subconscious.
Right. And because of this direct line to the subconscious, Case was a big advocate for using the tarot ethically and responsibly. He even advised against using it just for fun or out of curiosity, because he felt it could open you up to influences you might not be ready to handle.
He sounds like he took this very seriously, almost like a doctor prescribing medicine. Like, use this wisely, there are side effects. I'm curious, what kind of ethical guidelines did he suggest?
Well, one of the biggest things he emphasized was confidentiality. He even went so far as to say you should never discuss a client's reading with others, even without mentioning names. He saw it as a sacred trust between the reader and the person seeking guidance.
That makes sense. If you're really tapping into someone's deepest thoughts and feelings, you need to treat that information with respect and care. It's like a therapist protecting their client's privacy. It's interesting how this connects to modern psychology, too. We're learning more and more about the power of the subconscious mind and how important it is to approach it with awareness and responsibility.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes Case's work so compelling. He recognized that the tarot, while often seen as a simple fortune-telling tool, actually deals with some pretty profound stuff, your inner world, your connection to something bigger than yourself.
Okay, so we've talked about Case's unique perspective on the tarot and the ethics of using it. Now let's dive into the cards themselves. Can you give us a quick overview of the structure of the tarot deck?
Sure. Like most tarot decks, Case's system uses two main types of cards, the major arcana and the minor arcana.
Right. The major arcana is like the main characters in the story of your life. They represent those big archetypal energies that shape our experiences, like the Fool, the Magician, the Empress, the Tower. Big stuff.
Exactly. They're about those major life lessons and turning points. And then you have the minor arcana, which are divided into four suits. Think of these as the everyday events and choices that make up the plot of your story.
Okay, so the major arcana is the big picture, the overarching themes, and the minor arcana is the nitty-gritty, the day-to-day stuff. What are the four suits of the minor arcana?
They are wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. And Case being Case took things a step further. He connected each suit to one of the four elements: fire, water, air, and earth.
Now that's interesting. It's like each suit embodies a different energy, a different way of approaching the world. So wands are fire, cups are water, swords are air, and pentacles are earth. I'm already seeing the connections.
Exactly. And if we think about how these elements play out in our lives, it makes even more sense. Fire is about action, passion, creativity. Water is about emotions, relationships, intuition. Air is about thoughts, communication, intellect. And earth is about the physical world, practicality, security.
I love that. It's like the four suits represent different aspects of the human experience, the different ways we interact with the world and ourselves. So wands could be about your career or creative pursuits. Cups about your relationships and emotional life. Swords about your thoughts and communication style. And pentacles about your finances and practical matters.
Exactly. And within each suit, you also have the court cards, representing different personality types or approaches to life. But what really sets Case apart is the depth he goes into with his interpretations. He don't just describe the cards in general terms. He assigned very specific attributes to each one. Drawing on Hebrew letters, astrology, even assigning time periods to them.
Wait, time periods? Like each card represents a specific era in history? That's fascinating. So he saw the tarot as a system that spanned not just the human psyche, but also time itself.
It's true. He believed the tarot was a complete system, encompassing all aspects of existence, from the inner workings of our minds to the vastness of the cosmos. And his system of attributions is incredibly detailed. He even claimed that the true arrangement of the Hebrew letters on the tarot was actually a secret kept by a mysterious school of adepts for centuries.
A secret school of tarot masters. That's straight out of a Dan Brown novel. Yeah. And you mentioned something about a system he called dignity. What's that all about?
We'll remember all those specific attributes he assigned to each card. The Hebrew letters, the astrological associations, the time periods. Case believed that all of those factors played a role in determining whether a card was well-placed or ill-placed within a reading. He called this dignity, and it's a key part of his interpretation system.
So it's like each card has its own ideal environment, its preferred placement in the grand scheme of things, and depending on where it falls in a reading, its energy can be expressed either positively or negatively.
Exactly, and that's where things get really interesting, because it means that the meaning of a card can actually change depending on its context, its relationships to other cards, and even its astrological and numerological connections.
Okay, this is getting pretty complex.
Yeah.
But I'm intrigued. Can you give us a simple example of how this dignity thing works, just to illustrate the concept? Like, how might the same card have a different meaning depending on its placement?
Sure. Let's take the Two of Wands, for example. When it's well dignified, it can represent things like boldness, courage, taking initiative, and making bold moves. But when it's ill dignified, those same energies can get twisted. It might indicate recklessness, overambition, or even revenge.
Wow. So the same card can be either a driving force for good or a recipe for disaster, all depending on its dignity. That's wild. It makes me realize how much nuance there is to Case's system.
It's true. And remember, we've only just scratched the surface. Case's system also involved multiple stages of card layouts, each designed to reveal increasingly deeper layers of meaning.
Wait, multiple stages. So it's not just one and done. You actually lay out the cards in different formations to get different levels of insight. Okay, I'm definitely hooked now. Tell me more about these stages.
Well, in the first stage, you would shuffle the deck and let the person asking the question, or the querent, cut it once.
Okay, so it's not just the reader dictating the interpretation.
Yep.
The person asking the question is actively involved from the start. That's cool.
Exactly. Then you deal the cards into 4 piles, representing different aspects of the question. These piles help to determine the general nature of the question and the querent's overall attitude toward it. It's like setting the stage for the reading. We're getting a sense of the overall themes and energies at play.
Got it. So we've shuffled, cut the deck, dealt into 4 piles, and gotten a general sense of the question, what happens next?
The next stage involves creating a wheel of cards. You take the pile that contains the significator, the card that represents the person asking the question, and you arrange the cards in a circle around it, maintaining their original order.
Ah, so we're zooming in on this specific area that needs attention. And this is where Case's concept of dignity comes into play, right? Like how the placement of the cards within this wheel affects their meaning.
You got it. And from there, things get even more interesting. Case developed a very specific method of counting around the wheel, starting with the significator. As you count, you create a story using the meanings of the cards. It's almost like weaving a narrative, connecting the symbols and energies together.
Okay, so we're counting, connecting symbols, weaving together a narrative. This sounds pretty intricate.
It is. But Case believed this method allowed for a much deeper and more nuanced interpretation than simply looking at individual cards in isolation.
I can see how that would be the case. The context and relationships between the cards add so much depth. But wait, there's more to this wheel stage, right? You mentioned pairing the cards.
Yes. Once you've completed the counting and identified the most important card in that stage, you then pair the cards on either side of the significator, then the cards outside of those, and so on. Each pair reveals further insights, with the card on the right always relating to the past, and the card on the left representing the future.
So it's like building a timeline of the querent situation, using the paired cards to tell the story of what led up to the present moment and what might unfold in the future.
Exactly. It's like a multi-layered story, unfolding with each turn of the wheel and each pairing of cards.
This is fascinating stuff. Case really created a whole system, didn't he? But you said there were multiple stages. What happens after the wheel?
We'll buckle up, because things are about to get even more fascinating. In the next stage, we introduce the 12 houses of astrology.
12 houses of astrology.
12 houses of astrology.
Astrology.
Okay, my brain is officially doing backflips. So we're taking this wheel of cards and throwing it into a cosmic blender.
Not quite a blender, but it does get more intricate. Think of it like this. The wheel gives us a general overview, the main plot points. Then we overlay that onto the 12 houses, each representing a different area of life, like career relationships, finances, health, and so on.
So it's like taking a magnifying glass to different areas of the querent's life, seeing how the energies of the wheel play out in specific contexts. I'm guessing Case's concept of dignity comes into play here too.
Absolutely. Remember, each card has its ideal environment, its preferred placement. So a card that might be well dignified in the house of career, representing success and achievement, could be ill dignified in the house of relationships, potentially indicating conflict or instability. Okay, I'm starting to see how this works. It's like the same card can tell a different story depending on where it lands in this astrological map of the querent's life. Can you give us an example? Like a card that might have a totally different meaning depending on the house it falls into.
Sure. Think about the Sun card. It's usually associated with positive things: vitality, success, joy. If it falls in the house of creativity, for example, it could mean a surge of inspiration or a breakthrough project. But if it lands in the house of finances, maybe it's suggesting a time to be cautious with spending or investments. It's all about context.
Wow, I'm really seeing how much depth and nuance there is to Case's system. It's not just about the cards themselves, it's about their relationships to each other, their placement, and how they interact with these different areas of life.
Right, and even with all this complexity, we're still using that pairing method from the wheel stage. We connect the cards, look at their relationships, and see how the past is influencing the present, and how the present might shape the future.
So it's like a multidimensional puzzle, with layers of symbolism and meaning weaving together to create a unique picture for each individual. I gotta say, Case's system is blowing my mind a little.
It's pretty amazing, and believe it or not, there's still one more stage to go. It's like Case saved the best for last.
Seriously. There's more. I'm on the edge of my seat. What happens in this final stage?
For the grand finale, we bring in the big guns, the Tree of Life. It's a central symbol in Kabbalah, a mystical tradition that explores the nature of reality and the divine.
The Tree of Life. Okay, now we're venturing into some truly deep waters. I know a little bit about Kabbalah, but refresh my memory. What is the Tree of Life all about?
It's a complex system, but in essence, the Tree of Life is a diagram that represents the structure of creation, the flow of divine energy, and the different levels of existence. It's made up of 10 spheres, called Sephiroth, each with its own symbolic meaning and connected by 22 paths.
Okay, I'm starting to get a visual here. 10 spheres connected by paths. And how does this connect to the tarot?
Well, Case believed that the tarot cards themselves were a reflection of the Tree of Life. In this final stage of his system, you take all 78 cards and lay them out on a diagram of the Tree of Life.
So it's like each card finds its place within this cosmic blueprint, revealing its deeper meaning within the context of creation and the divine flow of energy. That's pretty powerful.
It is. And remember those numbers from 1 to 10 that Case assigned to each card? Well, those numbers correspond to the 10 Sephiroth on the Tree of Life. Each Sephirah has its own unique meaning, representing different qualities or aspects of existence.
So it's like those numbers unlock another layer of meaning within the cards, connecting them to this ancient system of wisdom. It's like everything we've learned so far, the 4 piles, the wheel, the houses, and now the Tree of Life, is all converging in this final layout.
Exactly. And in this final stage, Case wasn't just looking at individual cards or pairs, he was seeing the entire deck as a unified whole, reflecting the interconnectedness of everything.
I'm starting to see why he called this a course on tarot divination. It's not just a quick peek into the future, it's a journey into the depths of symbolism, psychology, and spirituality.
It is a journey, and it's one that requires time, dedication, and a willingness to explore the hidden depths of both the tarot and yourself.
Okay, before we get too lost in the cosmic depths, can you give us a few concrete examples of what these numbers on the Tree of Life represent? Like, what are some of their key meanings?
Sure. For example, the number 1 represents beginnings, new initiatives, raw potential. It's like the spark of creation, the first impulse to act.
Makes sense. It's the seed from which everything else grows. What about the number 2?
2 is about duality, balance, partnership. It's the coming together of opposites, like yin and yang, to create harmony.
It's like the dance between light and darkness, masculine and feminine logic and intuition. Okay, how about one more? What about the number 10?
10 represents completion, fulfillment, the culmination of a cycle. It's like reaching the peak of a mountain, the moment of harvest after a long season of growth.
Wow. I can see how understanding these numbers adds another layer of depth to the reading. It's like each position on the tree of life is a stage in a journey, a step in the process of creation and manifestation.
Exactly. And depending on where the significator card falls in this final layout, you can get a sense of where the querent is on their own journey and what kind of energies are at play in their life.
This is truly amazing. Case was really onto something with this system. It's like he took all this ancient wisdom and created a practical framework for self-discovery and spiritual exploration. But hold on, I have one more question. You mentioned the significator card falls somewhere on the tree of life in this final layout. What exactly does that mean?
Ah, that's the key. Remember, the significator card represents the person asking the question. Wherever it lands on the tree of life in this final layout, reveals something profound about their current state of being, the challenges they're facing, and even the potential outcome of their situation.
So it's like we've zoomed out from those specific areas of life in the 12 houses. And now we're seeing the querent's place within the grand scheme of things. Their journey, their purpose, their connection to the divine.
Exactly. It's like getting a glimpse into their soul's blueprint.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
Oh.
This is some seriously deep stuff. We've gone from shuffling cards to exploring the tree of life. It's incredible how much K is packed into a system.
I know, right? It really makes you wonder what else is hidden within these cards, what other layers of meaning we haven't even touched on yet.
Maybe that's the beauty of it. It's a system that continues to unfold, revealing new insights with each reading, each exploration.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that the tarot at its core is about more than just predicting the future. It's a tool for self-discovery, for exploring your inner world, for connecting to something bigger than yourself.
Beautifully said. I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about. We've explored the structure of the deck, the concept of dignity, the 4 stages of Case's system, and even delved into the mysteries of the tree of life.
We've covered a lot of ground, and I hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to explore the tarot further. Maybe even try a simple reading using Case's method.
I agree. And who knows, maybe there are even more secrets waiting to be revealed, hidden meanings just waiting to be discovered by those who are willing to look deeper. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Case mentioned this school of adepts who supposedly kept the true meanings of the tarot hidden for centuries. Do you think there's something to that? Like, are there levels to this that we haven't even touched on in this deep dive?
It's definitely a possibility. Case's work is so rich and layered, drawing on so many different traditions and systems of knowledge, that it's easy to imagine there are depths we haven't even begun to plumb.
It's like he left us a map, but maybe some of the landmarks are still hidden, waiting to be discovered by those who are willing to follow the clues. Okay, I know we can't cover everything in one deep dive, but I have to ask,
Yeah.
what's one thing that really stood out to you about Case's system? What's the biggest takeaway for you?
For me, it's the way Case connected the tarot to the subconscious mind. He saw it as a tool for accessing those deeper parts of ourselves, the parts that hold our intuition, our creativity, and our connection to something larger.
It's like he gave us a language to communicate with our own subconscious, a way to decode the messages and symbols that are always bubbling up from within.
Exactly. And that's something that anyone can benefit from, whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore this fascinating world.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that the tarot is more than just a deck of cards. It's a mirror reflecting our inner landscape, a guide to understanding ourselves and our place in the universe.
I think that's a perfect way to put it. The tarot is a tool for reflection, for self-discovery, for connecting to something deeper within ourselves and beyond.
Well said. And I think that's a perfect note to end on. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the world of Paul Foster Case and his unique approach to the tarot. It's been a truly illuminating journey.
The pleasure was all mine. And to all our listeners out there, remember the real magic of the tarot lies not in predicting the future, but in understanding yourself better in the present moment. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and most importantly, keep listening to your own inner wisdom.
That's fantastic advice. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll catch you next time for another fascinating deep dive.